again, it's time for, you guessed it, it's Badger Mailbag, where we the Badgers answer some of the numerous letters that you've sent us. The second half of this broadcast will be doing call-ins, where you, the viewer, can call in and tell us what's on your mind. So join the Honey Badgers for Badger Mailbag and call-ins. As always, the show will be available for download after the broadcast at honeybadgerbrigade.com.
Welcome to Honey Badger Radio. We've got a lot of wonderful things to talk about and lots of wonderful people here. I'm joined by my fellow panelists here. We've got Allison Tiemann.
Hello. I'm Allison Tiemann. This is my brainchild. I do Xenospora, an adult web comic. Tonight's show is going to be pretty crazy. It's going to be quite the roller coaster ride of insanity, because halfway through we're going to be moving over to Blog Talk to be able to give you the option to call in.
We've also got, after a bit of a break, we've got Karen Strawn. Hey, Karen.
Hi. It wasn't really a break. I was AWOL. I was out of commission. it was a disaster. It was many disasters befalling me all at once. But I am sufficiently recovered, and my ribs are all healed, and things have calmed down on the family front. So I'm back.
What happened to your ribs?
Sorry?
What happened to your ribs?
Oh, yeah, no.
She was fighting a polar bear. That's what happened.
Dog stairs. Fractured ribs, so, yeah.
We've got the lovely Hannah Wallen, as always.
Hello, how are you?
Well, we've also got, Anna Cherry.
Hooray! Thank you for having me. I am a cosplayer, adult entertainer, and I do YouTube videos when I have the time, and write things occasionally.
Awesome. And we've got our resident evil panda, Mike.
Hello. Yeah, I'm here, being Snowsword, mixing the colours, watching the smoke. You know.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Well, we love having you here, Mike. All right.
Yeah, you always keep it unreal.
And as always, I'm your host, Rachel Edwards, and you can find the stuff that I do in the appropriate links that are likely below this video. So we'll carry on, and we can move into news items. Would you like to do that? Get those out of the way.
I think it would be appropriate.
Okay.
I mean, even if I didn't want to, I think that right now that would be the thing to do.
That'll be the thing to do. All right. So, oh God, it's time to unleash the stupid in our wonderful show notes, or our wonderful news for this week. Boycott of Christina Hoff Sommers talk at UCLA. Yesterday, on March 4th, 2015, Christina Hoff Sommers gave a talk at UCLA Law on the topic of feminism as a part of a larger event called Freedom Feminism, the Best Way Forward in the Gender Wars. As expected, the feminists on the campus were less than enthused. One particular group, the Law Women of UCLA event, sent in a letter stating that they would be boycotting the event because Sommers would be speaking. Their specific grievances were that she denied the existence of rape culture, supported Gamergate, and wrote an article for A Voice for Men in January of 2014. In reality, this was a story she wrote for Time magazine, which was reprinted by AVFM. They stated that AVFM was basically a hate group, that Gamergate was a harassment campaign, and that rape culture was in no way mere campus hysteria. Their evidence for this are the same empty claims as always. They used the claims by the SPLC, the news stories on Anita Sarkeesian, AVFM's new White Ribbon campaign, etc. But the truly scary thing is that these are not merely gender studies radicals. This is a law school molding students into lawyers and other members of the judicial system. Fortunately, Dr. Sommers was able to give her talk without trouble, and the opposition posed no threat. She also spoke out on Twitter against the demonization of that early feminism said far more radical things, citing the Scum Manifesto. Base mom is based.
Well,
So,
okay. At least the protests, well, I guess maybe some sanity leaked into their brains before they started to protest.
Well, in protest, one of the things that was up around the campus was, I don't know if there was a formal protest. I think there was, but it was very minor. And there was a couple things that were posted up around campus, trying to mock her or something.
Yeah.
But, the letter that they sent in was just talking about how she is part of a hate group and how she is aiding the MRAs, the MRA problem, and the Gamergate harassers. It was really interesting stuff. The letter that they sent in, I think. I don't know who they sent it into, but she had a copy of it that she linked to.
I just find it really interesting the more and more the language that they use, right? She denies the existence of rape culture. Denies the existence of rape culture, right? Rape culture is a completely ephemeral sort of set of ideas about how society works, right? It's not science. It's not evolution, which we can actually see. We've demonstrated it in mayflies and moths and all kinds of other things, natural selection leading to, mutations leading to new species, all of those things. We've seen that, right? It's denying the existence of some kind of set of ideas and concepts about people's motivations and how society feels about things. Right? Like, it doesn't make any sense to take offense to that. I mean, it's like you're a heretic. You deny that Yahweh is the one true God, right? Or you deny that Muhammad is the one true God. You're a denier, right? Like, it really, really, or they'll call them a denialist, a rape culture denialist. It really is getting so freaking they don't even hide their dogmatism anymore. It's just it's just absolutely bizarre to me.
The denier thing, I wanted to say something about that because that gets used by various groups of people in debate, and it's so effective because people don't want to be called, don't want to be accused of being a flat Earth theorist. Oh, everybody has accepted this, and everybody believes it because we already all know it's true. You're a denialist, and it's really just a sneaky way of begging the question into your claims, into your attack, without actually meriting it. What I basically wanted to say is that this is just it's a prime example of how feminists use creative framing to control the discussion. They start their discussion or their claims or their assertions or whatever from the point of view where certain things that they want you to just accept as fact are presumed, so that when they put you on the defensive, you're defending against a whole slew of things and not just the overt assertion. You're defending against the presumptions, or worse, you're accepting the things that they presumed and defending against something that you really shouldn't have to be defending against, because the things they've assumed prior to that are not proved, and you should be calling them out on those.
I wanted to read a little bit of this for you for a moment because I thought this was kind of funny.
Could I interject if I have a point directly following Hannah's? Or are you breaking the train, or are we coming back to this?
Just take it away, Cherry, for a sec.
Okay. I kind of just agree, but also want to point out that is exactly what they do. What people do when they're trying to convince you of an argument by using what I call black magic with the words of implying things. And there's this and guilt. They use guilt and other emotional tactics to make you back down. But there's this implication that rape culture is real, that it's a thing. But exactly as Karen pointed out, it's not even a theory. It's just a cultural perspective of a minority that has yet to live up to evidence, and we keep finding evidence against it. But when they frame it like they do, in a sense that this is reality and you're a terrible person if you disagree with it, that's how they're able to slip past any reason or any notion of reasonability or logic and kind of get their claws in and drive a dogma that's not real.
Okay. All right. There's a few parts of this. Just an excerpt here. This is fun. Dr. Summers' association with A Voice for Men is appalling, particularly for any person who cares about ending the phenomenon of domestic violence. Their actions with respect to the White Ribbon Campaign, an international movement working to end violence against women and girls to promote gender equality and healthy relationships, are illustrative of their contempt for female victims of domestic violence. In response to this campaign, A Voice for Men created a copycat website in order to confuse people searching for the actual White Ribbon Campaign and to channel funds into their own organization. This website includes an article that makes the following abhorrent statement about the nature of domestic violence. It just goes on about it's really stupid shit. But basically, they also go on to mention Anita Sarkeesian on MSNBC. It's like further, it talks about Anita Sarkeesian having to cancel her speech at Utah State University. Like their claims are really stupid. And I think, to my knowledge, Christina Hoff Sommers is not really associated with us in the least bit, to be honest. You know.
Well, no, she's definitely not associated with us.
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
yeah.
I've never spoken with her. And I don't think any of the people that we know of at ADFM have.
I mean, come on, give her a break. She's not a space leper like us. You know,
yeah, she
doesn't have our leprosy.
She hasn't associated with us.
She's not tainted by our appallingness. Give her a break.
When will Senpai notice us?
Okay, what I wanted to point out is they don't just. I mean, look at what happened to Brianna Wu. She just said pro Gamergator was not, the devil, and didn't attempt to tear off her head and, poop down her throat during a coffee that she had with him. And now all of her former buddies, I don't know if they still are, but they jumped all over her and started to insult her work and saying, oh, now we don't have to pretend and like her anymore. And it's like they're going to do the least amount of being tainted. This is totally what is the word for it? It's like a ideological purity. The least amount of being tainted, and they're going to jump all over you. And it's just a pretty consistent pattern. I don't know why people give in to these people at this point, because it's so consistent. If
sort
you
of like an eternal schism. Like lots of religions have points of contention, and this is one where all the lib femmes and the rad femmes and the different femmes have got together and decided there's one kind of feminism they all can't stand, and it's factual feminism.
And it's like, if you step out of line, I don't know why people try to appeal to social justice warriors, because there will sort of seek out any opportunity to throw you under the bus, because that's their ultimate goal. Hating is their ultimate goal. And outrage is their ultimate goal. But I think we should move on to the next news item.
Yes, we should. This is a little more positive story here. We got a petition to change Amazon Mom to Amazon Family. One dedicated stay-at-home dad has started a Change.org petition asking Amazon to change the name of its U.S. family-oriented discount subscription, Amazon Mom, to Amazon Family, as it appears in the UK. Quote, Amazon should embrace the fact that all parents, no matter their gender, are responsible for taking care of their kids, and they should show that they respect those families that don't have a mom just as much as those that do. Amazon already calls the program Amazon Family in other parts of the world. They should do the same thing here in the United States. This idea has been attributed to the now-deceased blogger Orrin Miller, who tried to petition the company 2 years ago, stating that it reinforced stereotypes about his family, and that didn't ring true. Quote, it's not about a name, and it's not about me personally being offended. It's not about stupid emails and yoga classes. It's about a company that looks at the U.S., then looks at England, and decides that over there, parent equals mom or dad, while here, well, we're not ready for that yet. Orrin Miller ran a popular blog about being a father and the issues that come with it, and many are trying to finish what he started. The petition currently has over 5,000 signatures, but it'll need another 4,000 to meet its goal. I think this is actually pretty cool that these guys are doing this, because they're trying to change some stereotypes.
I just think it's very strange that there's like good news and stuff.
Yeah, I know, right?
The fact that it's being allowed to happen? What?
How do we react to that? I don't know what to do with that. Yeah, no, it is. It really, really is. Like, and there are, you know, you sort of, we've gone from a situation where, like, someone put it this way to me when I think I was pregnant with my first child, and I was going into a public washroom in a restaurant, and there was a woman in there, and she was changing her toddler's diaper standing up on the bathroom floor. You know, like with the baby standing up. And I think the baby was like maybe 13, 14 months old, right? And she looks up at me and she says, "We live in a society that hates babies." Right? Because there was nowhere in the restaurant, nowhere in the entire mall at that time in 1991 where you could go and there would be a changing table, right? At least not in that town. And we've gone from being a society that hates babies to being a society that accommodates mothers with babies. And it's really nice to see that, see things like family change rooms, you know, at the water park, where the entire family, both mother, father, and all the children can go in and, you know, and get changed and into their bathing suits and go, right? It's really nice to see those kinds of things. And it's certainly nice for the, you know, like for dads when they do have that change table in the men's washroom, when there's a family washroom, you know, or a family lounge outside the, you know, washroom where men are welcome to go in and change their kids and do all of that stuff, right? And that's happening more and more, and it's really nice to see.
Well, didn't we do a show a few months back where we talked about a campaign they were doing for kind of glorifying men who are fathers, which was a positive thing, that they were like talking about the real strength is, you know, something to do with your baby, which is, you know, good. But to me, it's a very, very good step, of course. But I can't help but I guess it's the cynic in me, or the person who wants to see actual real change in full embracing of masculinity by the, you know, the opposing side and by all of society, in the sense that we need to make single, bachelor, whatever, really male men to also be okay in society as well. Because the way they're celebrating men currently and allowing for men to be legitimate, so to speak, in the eyes of women is through fatherhood, is through commitment to marriage, family, that whole, you know, producing more little babies that our planet can't handle at a certain point, which is, you know, pretty much now. And just a variety of other social things that are once again forcing men into a particular role in a particular box instead of appreciating, you know, sometimes perhaps the destructive side of men, because, you know, women have a destructive side too. And we're okay with, you know, glorifying bitches and like all those other things that women have reclaimed, bad words about them that they're, you know, of course, at the same time, they're also trying to ban words like bossy, but there's also a big uprising in the strong female character, which usually just means someone who's, you know, sort of abusive. And that is usually seen as okay. But for men, we're not allowing them anything other than complete supplication and complete bowing down to control, once again, of the head of the family, which is more often than not a woman. I mean, the fact that most advertising and everything else is aimed at women and their daughters, we know who controls the family, we know who controls the purse. It's always the woman. So, I mean, obviously I'm not speaking for every culture because I don't know what goes on in other parts of the world, and we can't see enough from television to even, you know, determine that. But from what I see in America and the variety of states I've lived in, et cetera, is that pretty much is the case. Men are only nominally in some very conservative places like Texas, where religion is still, those older religious ideas still dominate. Only there do you even see of men being given respect, at least on the surface. But in many liberal places, men are completely denigrated unless, well, if you do this one thing right, if you jump through this hoop right. And I mean, it is positive, but I also would like to see more improvement, I guess.
Yeah, there really does seem to be a huge trend in sort of disregarding dads in the United States overall. And it's whether they're married or whether they're single, it's like they just don't exist. And it's or if we do acknowledge them, it's critical, it's or ridiculing.
Yeah, their love for their children doesn't exist.
Yeah, you know, and it's hard to tell if it's all directed or focused, or if it's a lot of it's just sort of incidental following the high amount of criticism that various women have launched at them. But I kind of have to wonder what the Amazon thing says about the United States and fathers. I mean, has it become offensive to think of men as parents, or that we've, quote, learned, end quote, to dismiss them? Or are we so gynocentric that we can't acknowledge all that dads do? Like, suddenly, if we do that, we're taking away from moms? Is that it? Or is this single mom worship? There's a lot of stuff out there directed specifically to get the attention of and celebrate the single mother. And some of it's a backlash against the stigma that single moms used to have. But I think it's gone way, way overboard from the point of saying, we don't need to shame people for being in that position, for choosing to be in that position, to now we've gotten to the point of you can't say anything that doesn't celebrate that position, or you're shaming people for being in that position. And I kind of wonder if that might have been part of the impact here, that political correctness in the United States has gotten to the point where it means erasing fathers to preserve the not the dignity, but the sensibilities, the tender sensibilities of single moms who feel stigmatized if everybody isn't praising them every moment of every day. And I also kind of wonder if Amazon thinks dads don't shop. Because I see a lot of shopping among the dads that I know. They're the ones that get online and do the Christmas shopping online when there's stuff to buy on the internet. It's usually the men that I know that do that, not so much the women. They take to it faster. They learn the systems faster, and they're better at it. Not so much that women can't do it, but I think, and except for maybe in the younger generations, there's always been this, we go to the mall, we go to the stores, and we go in groups, and it's a social thing and all that. And the internet kind of takes away from that. And I think Amazon's really missing an opportunity here, because I think with the male shopper's tendency to be more focused, know what they want, not necessarily want to go stand around in the store as much, and go in and pick their thing out, research it a little bit, buy it, and not have to deal with all that crap. They should be targeting dads.
By the way, before I go to the next item, that petition, you can find the link to that petition in the show notes if you're interested in getting an Amazon Mom, its discount service, to change to Amazon Family. But going on, how to spot a misogynist. Oh God, this is terrible.
A misogynist? Did he give massages out?
Oh, wait, Cherry.
Oh gosh, no, it's just wait.
Quiet.
A recent article in Psychology Today by Barrett. Oh God, I'm gonna murder this. Brogard states that people can easily identify misogynists through specific traits. She believes that misogyny is unconscious, meaning that people are somehow unaware of strong adverse emotions towards half the population. She speaks of misogyny as almost a weed taking over a garden. Actually, she actually almost calls it that. A behavioral problem creeping in during childhood and then bearing sexist fruit. She portrays misogynists as men who specifically target women for abuse and control. A good portion of these traits can be attributed to women or people who suffer from psychological problems associated with abuse. In fact, you can attribute almost all of these to people with personality disorders and other mental illnesses. But then there are some traits on this list that make no sense or are incredibly difficult to prove, like number 4 on the list, where it states that the misogynist will choose his male friends over spending time with his girlfriend. Or number 8, where she describes a man going out of his way to be the opposite of what the woman would prefer on a date. Quote, on a date, he will treat a woman the opposite of how she prefers. If she is an old-style lady who prefers a gentleman who holds the door for her, orders for both and pays for the meal, he will treat her like one of his male buddies, order for himself, and let her pay for the whole meal if she offers, and sometimes even if she doesn't. If she is a more independent type who prefers to order her own meal and pay for herself, he will rudely order for both and pay the check while she goes to the bathroom. unquote. So basically, men cannot win in this scenario. If she assumes she wants a gentleman, he's a sexist. If he treats her like one of the guys, he's a sexist. Basically, a man would have to be a psychic to avoid doing this stuff, because much of it deals with knowing what the woman in question likes and doesn't like. Quote, women haters unconsciously get off on treating women badly. Every time they can put down a woman or hurt her feelings, they unconsciously feel good, because deep down in their hidden brain, their bad behavior is rewarded with a dose of the pleasure chemical dopamine, which makes them want to repeat the behavior again and again, unquote. Again, how would you know about the hidden brain of a misogynist, especially when you are describing men with a possible mental condition, or even someone who has the audacity to not know what his date is thinking or what his girlfriend wants in bed? I have to ask, who gave this woman a degree in neuroscience? Who gave her a doctorate? Because this is the worst kind of pseudoscientific drivel. And discuss. Oh my God.
Okay, all right. First of all, what they're saying is what if a man wants to actually be able to discern if a woman has the qualities that are appropriate for him? I mean, he will have to necessarily disappoint some women who he finds inappropriate. So that's misogyny now. And so a man having any standards whatsoever in his female partner could possibly cause her to feel discomfort should she fail to meet those standards. Therefore, he's a misogynist. I mean, when you read this stuff, if you reversed the genders, this is a level of misogyny that you don't get until you get really deep into certain forums and foray and groups, not groups, but just individual bloggers, like just really deeply into the web, into the dark web. No, just kidding. Yeah, so it's like, and this is mainstream. They are allowing this woman to spew bullshit in the mainstream about how a man having any kind of criteria for his female partner might cause her some discomfort to fail it is a misogynist. Not just that, but if he fails to to provide the kind of dating experiences that she wants, he's also a misogynist. Well, what about her failing to, like, in all of this, she has not considered the possibility that maybe he wants a particular dating experience. So does that make the woman who expects him to cater to her every whim an active and malicious misandrist who gets a dopamine surge every time she disappoints, or otherwise, she expects a man to jump through a hoop and makes him feel upset and less of a man? Is that because he's?
It reminds me of there was a short video, I think I saw it on Facebook, of I think it might have been an advert or a commercial or something. They took a little, I think it was a 7 or 8 year old girl out into public, and took several of the little boys that were passing, got to stand next to her and say, okay, now sort of pat her on the chest, and now stroke her shoulder, and now kiss her on the cheek, yeah, and now slap her. And every little boy without fail went, no, I'm not going to slap her. And they went, why? Well, because she's a girl, and we're not supposed to slap girls. And somebody wrote in the comments of that video on Facebook, well, this is all very sweet, but still this is a misogyny problem, and we have to address that deep down this is a result of misogyny in these boys. And my head's just sinking in my hands and sinking all the way through the desk. I mean, if you can see children saying that and doing that and saying, no, I'm not going to hit her because she's a girl, and all you can think is, well, these boys must hate girls, then there's nothing left in your conscience but this upside down world of yours. It just baffles me.
And I did see the video that Mike is talking about. It was actually Italian, and my boyfriend had sent it to me. But getting back onto the topic, the weird thing is how they start talking about how the seeds of misogyny get planted through slights in childhood when they're just a young boy, and it's a behavioral problem that if you don't correct it when they're young, that it's just gonna turn them into like terrible abusive predators that go and prey upon women and this is some kind of pervasive thing that just happens to everybody. Guys, it was just so ridiculous. But there's a couple of these. I wouldn't mind summarizing. So the first one is he will zero in on a woman and choose her as his target. Her natural defenses may be down because he's flirtatious, exciting, fun, and charismatic at first. 2, as time goes on, he will begin to reveal a Jekyll and Hyde personality. He may change quickly from irresistible to rude, and from rude back to irresistible. 3, he will make promises to women and often fail to keep them. With men, on the other hand, he will almost always keep his word. 4, he will be late for appointments and dates with women, but be quite punctual with men. 5, his behavior towards women in general is grandiose, cocky, controlling, and self-centered. 6, he is incredibly competitive, especially with women. If a woman does better than him socially or professionally, he feels terrible. If a man does better, he may have mixed feelings about it, but he is able to look at the situation objectively. 7, he will unknowingly treat women differently from men in the workplace and social settings, allowing men various liberties for which he will criticize female colleagues for or friends. And this whole thing is, she believes that this whole thing is unconscious, that you're unconsciously hating women, that you don't know that you hate women.
If you enjoyed the contents of this podcast, please consider supporting our show. You can become our patron at www.patreon.com/honeybadgerradio. This show is made possible by the contributions of listeners such as yourself. Thank you for your donation.